With Daily Maverick story on the IDT CEO's alleged spending splurge, Tebogo Malaka, through her legal representative, is denying the allegations. She's also accused journalists of inciting a social media smear campaign against her and disseminating fake news. Tebogo Malaka's spokesperson, Khaya Buthelezi, joins us now to unpack some of the issues. Khaya, good morning to you. Thank you very much for your time. You would have heard that interview with the journalist who was involved in heading that investigative report. What are your reactions to what he said this morning before we get into some of the detail?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Iman, for the opportunity to respond to Peter. I think maybe right from the outset, one needs to state that I represent Ms. Tebogo Malaka in her personal capacity, not in her capacity as the IDT CEO. I think it is very important for us to make that distinction right from the start, because she's being attacked in her personal capacity. It has got nothing to do with the IDT. I do not have the authority to speak on behalf of IDT. When you have IDT-related questions, I'm sure you can engage with them at a later stage. However, in response to Peter, we want to state categorically.
Wait, Khaya, sorry, let me just come in very quickly. I understand the distinction that you're making and that you don't have a mandate to speak on behalf of the IDT, but Tebogo Malaka is the CEO of the institution, so and the allegations are made in that capacity. So I just wanted to clarify that. So if you're saying, if you are responding, it's going to be obviously connected to the job that she's doing, the position that she occupies.
Yeah, but I think, Iman, it's important to also indicate that the allegations that Peter is making, they are of a personal nature and they are not for discussion in public. Even the transactions that Peter is referring to, they are personal transactions. They are also confidential transactions. We understand that, yes, Ms. Malaka is a public official, and therefore, media scrutiny is welcome. However, you'll also appreciate the fact that there are official probes that are being currently launched and undergoing, currently undergoing by the IDT itself and many others, that are outside of the IDT. And one would appreciate that we need to wait for the outcome of those official probes and then for those findings to be communicated before one can actually, run speculative articles that even they themselves, they admit that they do not have evidence, a shred of evidence that they can show to the South African public that proves indeed that there has been some sort of corruption or maladministration. So that is why we, right from the, categorically, we deny these allegations that are being made. And we are, urging, the South Africans and including the media as the fourth estate to wait for the official, investigations to be concluded. And therefore we can engage at that particular, stage.
I knew right from the outset, Khaya, this was either going to be a very short conversation, which ended after you said what you just said, or it was going to be a longer conversation if we went into some of the detail. Let's test that position, because you talk about media scrutiny being welcome, and you also say, let's just wait for the outcome. These are allegations that are being made, but these are serious allegations. They cast serious aspersions on the integrity of the CEO of a very important institution in South Africa. Is she, considering legal action then, if, as you say, she is denying these allegations, and this is nothing more than kind of a witch hunt in a sense, is she considering legal action because it does impugn her reputation?
Indeed, it does, and for that reason, some of the allegations that are being raised, they will obviously, at a later stage, obviously, at the right time, be matters of litigation. That is why we are not going to comment on the merits or demerits of those allegations that are being raised, because they will also be used in the official forums that are instituted by the board, for instance, of the IDT, and also what the minister has also instituted. And what we also want to stress, Iman, is the fact that what this really comes from, and the genesis of this is the fight for political dominance between the ANC as well as the Democratic Alliance. So the likes of Ms. Malaka here, they are simply a pawn in a very game that is being played by the politicians. So she's really being a collateral damage in this big battle, which is playing out on various platforms.
Yeah.
Just recently, as we speak right now, for instance, the matter of the increasing of the VAT, it is a political battle between the ANC as well as the DA. We are also seeing the very same political battle, that is finding itself in the terrain of the IDT as well as the Public Works Ministry. And unfortunately, the likes of Daily Maverick and other media platforms are being used as the extension of the political battle. And these things do happen in our country, where the media is used to further the political goals of politicians.
All right, let's get agnostic about it for a while. I mean, and I hear what you're saying, and the logic does follow. But let's be agnostic about political interference, and let's just look at the hygiene of it all. If you are in a position of authority and power, overseeing massive transactions between yourself and entities, and then in your personal capacity, large amounts of unexplained cash. This is as the story goes. This is the narrative in the story. Large amounts of unexplained cash make its way into two family trusts, of which you are a senior member or a senior curator of those trusts. And then you go on and buy cars, and then you go on and buy properties. All of this without bonds and loans. You're able to do this all with cash. You have to concede that there will be questions asked about that, especially when tender processes haven't been followed within the organization, are being red flagged. It prompts then a lifestyle audit. I mean, a lifestyle audit would be something the CEO should welcome as an opportunity to kind of exonerate herself. I mean, I want to use that term lightly. But it is in our context of state capture, and we've seen many people in positions of power suddenly become wealthy at the expense of taxpayers and contracts that never really go anywhere, that it is in this context that good questions have to be asked and suspicions have been raised. Khaya?
Why those questions are raised when a black executive is involved? However, when other, for instance, it has never been an issue in the government which is run by the DA in the Western Cape. Why, when it is only a black executive is involved, and therefore that black executive is corrupt, then the assumption is made that black executive is corrupt.
Right.
So we need to make it normal, Iman, for black executives or for any black person in this country to be wealthy. We need to make it normal for black people to acquire wealth and assets. It's a normal thing. There's absolutely nothing untoward about black people acquiring wealth and becoming, acquiring assets and becoming wealthy.
Right.
In this specific case, for instance, there could be like a logical reason as to why she's acquiring these assets, as these guys allege. But let's wait for the formal investigations to be concluded. Ms. Malaka herself welcomes the lifestyle audit and the probes that are currently being launched. She'll engage and she'll cooperate with those particular investigations, and then let's wait for the outcome to come out at the end of that.
All right, I think we'll leave it there. On that note, Khaya Buthelezi, thank you very much for your time.